Hi children, welcome back. Today we are discussing about our civics second chapter, that is understanding secularism. Students, at the end of today's class, you will be able to learn what is secularism, what is an Indian secularism, and what is the importance of the separate religion from state. Students, in the civics first chapter, you have learnt about the important definitions of liberty, fraternity, equality, and democracy and secularism also. So, what is the meaning of secularism or secular? It is nothing but a kind of society where there is no discrimination based on religion. So, when you face discrimination, you respond in two ways. Okay, then the first response is nothing but when you face discrimination, you resent discrimination. Resent means what? You reject it because you want fair treatment, you want equality, you want equal treatment along with others. The second one is what? You when you face discrimination, you feel retaliation. It means what? You develop a sense of revenge over the others. It means, for example, if you take an example, when you go to some other country where they don't follow your religion and they have their own official religion, so when they discriminate you or ill treat you, then you face what? Discrimination. At that time, you can't do anything, you can't raise a question also, because it's basically a country with different religion as official religion. So what you will do, when they come to your country, you do the same thing for them. It means you discriminate them based on the grounds of religion. Means how they treat you, you treat the same thing to them also. You treat them in the same way. So that kind of feeling is called a feeling of revenge. That's called retaliation. So let's see the different responses in the world by taking the world examples. The first one is discrimination, second one exclusion, and third one persecution. Here discrimination is nothing but what, children? If you take an example of a country, Saudi Arabia, where is a Muslim, Islam is a official religion. So those people, they'll not allow any non-Muslim community. It means what? A Christian community or Hindus, they are not allowed to build their own temples and churches in Saudi Arabia. So they are not allowed to participate, practice the religion openly or preaching also. So they have to practice or follow it very silently or secretly. Second one, exclusion. Exclusion is nothing but you will be excluded from the mainstream. For example, if you take the country of Israel, it's a Jewish state. So where the Jews are in majority population. What's the meaning of majority? More population, more in number. So their number is more. So they are majority population. And in the same country, Muslims also living and the Christians also living. But they are in less number. So they come under minorities. So these Muslims and Christians, these minority communities, they face discrimination because these Jewish people, they treat them very badly or ill treat them very badly. The last one, persecution. Sometimes this discrimination only leads to what? Persecution. It's nothing but killing of the people with no reason. For no reason they kill the people. For no reason they harass the people. Okay. So this was happened to the Jews when Hitler ruled the Germany. Okay. So these are the three cases where the people responded for the discrimination. Okay, children. Students, if any country who gives an official religion, it means if they give any official status for any religion, that leads to discrimination in a distinct way. It means it strengthens the discrimination at an extent of higher level. So let us see the secularism in India. So how the India has become a secular state. Let us take the examples one by one. First one, India have freedom to live in their religious beliefs. Individuals in India, they have freedom to live their religious beliefs and practices. So they can preach, they can propagate, they can follow their own religious beliefs. There is no objection for any one of them. Then second one, separate power of religion and power of state. State does not intervene in religious affairs. So that's why there is no power of state over the religion. So the separation is most important. Why? It is in order to protect the minority communities from majority. That is why the state did not take any power over the religions. Next one, tyranny of majority may lead to discrimination. What's the meaning of tyranny? It's a cruel and oppressive rule or government of majority that may lead to what? Discrimination. So the cruel rule of people or some majority community that leads to what? Discrimination. So coercion. Coercion is nothing but to force someone to do something. Means you forcibly ask people to do something for your sake. Or even killing of religious minorities also. You may kill the people for no reason because they are not belongs to your religion. You may kill them or you may harass them. So that also leads to what? Children discrimination. That's why state will not interfere in religious affairs and it treats all the religions equally. Next, protect the freedom of individuals to exit from their religion. So if anybody wants to exit from any religion, it means if they don't want to, if any Hindu, if he does not wants to follow Hinduism, then the state, it means the constitution, it is giving the freedom and protect the right of the individual to exit from that religion. Or sometimes that person wants to embrace another religion. If a Hindu converts to Christian or if a Hindu converts to Islam, so that kind of freedom also given by the constitution. The last but not least, and they have freedom to interpret religion teachings. For example, Buddhists, they can follow Buddhism, but also they can preach the teachings of Buddha. Likewise, Hindus, they preach the Hindus' teachings also. Likewise, Christianity, they preach the teachings of Jesus, etc. Next, dominant religions might face resistance from community members. So every religion will have some community members? No. They might face resistance from the community members. It means the religion which is having a majority population, that religion members, they may dominate some other religious group members who are in minority. So that resentment is there in the India. So it means the majority population in the religion, they should not show any discrimination towards the minority community people in India. So children, what is Indian secularism? Yes, the Indian constitution mandates, it means made compulsory that the Indian state should be a secular. It means according to it, only a secular state can realize its objectives. For what? To ensure the following statements. See the first one. One religious community does not dominate another, though it may be a minority or majority. So no religious community should dominate other community. Second one, some members do not dominate other members of the same religious community. For example, Hinduism, we have Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Actually, these the upper caste people like Brahmins, Vaishyas and Kshatriyas, they dominate the other members. It means the lower caste people with the help of their occupation. People, those who belong to the cheaper occupation like cleaning or washing or weaving or cleaning utensils. So those community members, same religious group only, but they belongs to lower caste. So these dominant leaders, they dominate the other minority people in the same religious group. The third one, state does not enforce any particular religion nor take away the religious freedom of individuals. It means we should not, the state should not participate or support any religion or take away religious freedom also. For example, in such a case, Let us take an example of Sikh fellow. Actually, in India, wearing a helmet is compulsory for everybody. If not, you'll be fined. You'll be fined. Okay, but it is not in the case of a sick person. Sick in the sense not S-I-C-K, S-I-K-H, a sick person. So that person need not put it's not necessary for him to keep a helmet, because the Constitution of India is respecting his religious principle. That's why he need not wear a helmet. Students, that is why Indian state distance itself from the religion. It will not interfere in religious affairs or religious matters. Okay, so government spaces are also not allowed to promote any religion. If you go to any government offices also, they will not display any religious pictures or religious slogans also. They will not support any religion. Government schools also. In government schools also, they are not supposed to sing only Hindu songs or Christian songs or Muslim songs. So it's not allowed in government schools to propagate or to promote any one religion. Okay, even though it's in the morning prayer also, or through religious celebrations also, they should not support only one religion. But the private schools are exempted. It means, for example, in our school, see, we will follow our own Vidyanjali school song. Okay, likewise. So private schools are exempted, but the government schools are not allowed to promote any one religion, like only Hinduism or only Christianity. But we can see many private schools like Saint Joseph in Kakinada. It's a Christian school purely, but it is run by the French people. Likewise, some schools, they totally run with the help of some kind of religious groups, like Hindus. Sharanya, Sharanya children. So that school is run by one Guruji. So even ashram also. So they propagate Hinduism. They just add their religious songs in that morning prayers. Okay, children, do you understand now? Students, in India, we follow three main policies. First one is we follow the policy of non-interference. The government will not interfere in religion. For example, here you can have an example. What is that? In order to respect sentiments of religions and not interfere with religious practices, state makes certain exceptions for particular religious communities. Example, Sikh wearing purgri, not fined for helmet. So if the Sikh fellow who does not wear a helmet, he will not be fined. But others, if they did not wear the helmet, they will be fined. So such kind of things, no, the government will not involve in religious practices. So it gives full freedom for the people for following their religious practices. The second one, following a strategy of intervention. But in some cases, state may intervene. For example, state intervenes for preventing untouchability. I just have told you that the upper caste in the Hindu community, they dominate the lower caste Shudras because of their occupation. So in such a case, the government intervene and prevents the untouchability. So that's why to protect such kind of people, in our constitution, fundamental rights are also been given for the people to protect against the discrimination from the minority population from the same religious group. So fundamental rights of lower caste are violated means they'll be punishable. Next, intervention can be in the form of support. Sometimes the government intervene, but only to support the people. It means to support the religion in the form of what? If you want to set up an organization or a school, only Christian based school or Hindu based school, like Saint Joseph or Ashram school or else Sharanya. So the government gives also financial assistance. The government gives financial aid or assistance or support. So in such a way, the government sometimes it interferes and sometimes it will not follow any intervention in the religious affairs. With this, I conclude this today's topic, children. Thank you. Stay tuned.